I will not let criticism hold me back. One of the things that you find in life is you can't avoid criticism. No one does. Ashley doesn't. I don't. You don't. In fact, if you go into the Bible, you find that every major player was criticized by somebody. Here's some examples. Adam criticized Eve for giving him the fruit, Genesis 3:12. Ham criticized his father Noah for getting drunk and laying naked in his tent. Sarah said to Abraham, said to her own husband, may the wrong done to me be on you. Thank you, wifey. Joseph was mocked by his brothers for being a dreamer. The Israelites grumbled against Moses. Nathan outs David as an adulterer and murderer. Elisha was mocked for being bald. Think about that. Peter was called Satan by Jesus. Jesus was called a drunkard and a glutton by the religious leaders. Nobody is exempt from criticism. This weekend, we looked at the criticisms leveled at the Apostle Paul by the church that he established. They said he was such a poor orator that his teaching wasn't worth charging money for. Paul's going, well, I thought that was a good thing. Not only that, but he was also physically unimpressive and timid. That's what they said. According to historical documents, this is kind of fun fact, the Apostle Paul had, again, we don't have a photo, but the early church documents described him as someone with a really high forehead, like he was bald, and with a really big nose. You're not getting away from criticism, nor do you want to. And here's the secret. Criticism is one of your best friends, even when it comes from your worst enemies. Can I add a bit of Bible teaching to this weekend message? James 1, verses 19 through 20 says, know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. So my advice to you, based upon the Bible, first of all would be, don't respond immediately to criticism. Let it sit, let it soak, so that you can ask, is there value in it? Your immediate response should be to say, thank you. Thank you for having the courage and love to help me get better. Let me think about that. You don't have to respond immediately. Second biblical principle, Proverbs 27. Better is an open rebuke than hidden love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Profuse are the kisses of an enemy. And I think what you should ask with any criticism is, what part of this is true? Because there's always a kernel of truth, even in the most outrageous exaggeration. And if there's a kernel of truth, then you open up the critic by your behavior. Learn from that. Third principle, Romans 14. Who are you to pass judgment on the servant of another? It is before his own master that he stands or falls, and he will be upheld, for the Lord is able to make him stand. Here's my suggestion, that when you're criticized, if you over-respond, if it makes you angry, it's because you're insecure in your relationship with God. If you can get your approval from God and not from men, then all criticism has the potential of being helpful. Now, I'll be honest. I don't get all my approval from God. I get some of my approval from other people. But here's what I have managed. Rather than having an audience of one, I can't do that. I'm not that good. I have managed to get an audience of about 5. And if you can reduce the number of people who get to tell you who you are, then you can choose those people who get to tell you who you are. Get it from men and women that you select who have wisdom from God. Now, that is something worth talking about.